Hi, I'm Parni Jaggi, and this video is going to be a continuation of the synopsis of the greatest tragedy of William Shakespeare, King Lear. While in the last video we noticed how King Lear divides his kingdom amongst his two older daughters and banishes his third daughter, Cordelia, who was actually the most affectionate and loyal to him. And towards the end of Act 2, we noticed how Lear calls his daughters as unnatural hags and walks away from the castle, as we already see that a storm is brewing. Now, the storm has a major role to play in this tragedy. While we look at Act 3, we see that Kent is looking for the king. Now, because Kent is loyal to the king, he's a faithful worker. And the gentleman tells him that King Lear is contending with the fretful elements, accompanied by none but only the fool. So finally, King Lear is left alone and he's moving towards the forest amidst the upcoming storm, and only the fool accompanies him. Then Kent also tells the gentleman of the difficulty between Albany and Cornwall, and that spies in their courts are reporting back to Cordelia's husband, the King of France. King Kent then sends the gentleman with a ring to find Cordelia back. In the next scene, Lear shouts at the stormy skies, blow winds and crack your cheeks. The fool tries to calm him down, but Lear continues to complain to the elements, to the nature, that they are taking his daughter's side. Kent finds them and he persuades Lear to head towards the shelter of a hovel, and the king finally agrees, showing sympathy for the fool. Then we see Gloucester, on the other hand. He confides in Edmund his concerns about how these daughters, Regan, Goneril, and Cornwall, have forbidden him to help Lear. He tells Edmund of a letter locked in his closet, which is dangerous to be spoken, and there is part of a power already footed to revenge. These injuries the king now bears. Now, as soon as Gloucester leaves, Edmund tells the audience that he will immediately report all this to Cornwall. That means he is going to leak all these secrets to Cornwall. Then in scene 4, Kent has led Lear to the hovel and urges him to go inside. Before he enters, Lear thinks about the poor naked wretches in his kingdom who have no shelter, and he confesses, I have taken too little care of all this. Just then the fool comes back out of the hovel, scared of a spirit inside it called Poor Tom. Edgar emerges, disguised as this Poor Tom, behaving and speaking like a beggar. Lear is intrigued by Poor Tom and consider how unaccommodated man is no more, but such a poor bare-forked animal. He begins to take off his own clothes to be more like Poor Tom. Now at this moment we notice Gloucester finds them. He tells Lear that my duty cannot suffer to obey in all your daughter's hard commands. And then he says he will take them to where both fire and wood is ready. Now Lear agrees to follow them, but not without his Poor Tom. Now Edmund tells Cornwall what his father told him and shows Cornwall Gloucester's letter, which approves him an intelligent party to the advantages of France and therefore a traitor to his own country. Cornwall praises his action, telling him it had made the Earl of Gloucester. Then in the scene 6th, Gloucester brings Lear, Kent, Poor Tom, and the fool to a place of shelter near his own house. Lear continues to complain about how his daughters have treated him and sets up a mock trial of Regan and Goneril. Kent eventually persuades him to rest, but then Gloucester returns and tells Kent they must leave immediately and drive towards Dover. The fool speaks his last line in the play. Then in scene 7, Regan and Goneril, both the elder daughters, are angry to hear of Gloucester's betrayal. Regan says, hang him instantly, and Goneril says, pluck out his eyes. Oswald arrived with news that Lear and some 5 or 60 and 30 of his knights have gone toward Dover, where they boast to have well armed friends. Goneril sets off back to her house, accompanied by Edmund, while Cornwall sends servants to bring in the traitor Gloucester. Now, Gloucester is brought in and protests. In response, Cornwall gouges out one of Gloucester's eyes, but before he can take out the other eye, a servant calls, "Hold your hand, my lord." Cornwall fights with the servant and kills him, and then returns to pluck out Gloucester's remaining eye so cruelly. Now, Gloucester calls out for Edmund, but Regan tells him that it was Edmund. So this was a surprise that Edmund proved to be the real villain, which Gloucester actually did not know. Gloucester then finally realizes that he has trusted the wrong son, actually. Cornwall had been hurt in the fight with his servant. Regan orders the remaining servants to go thrust him out of the gates and then helps her bleeding husband. Now, we see that in this play there is a lot of holocaust going on, and there is a lot of melodrama going on, because people are now finding the traitors, people are now finding the real faces, the real evil faces, like Edmund is now being unveiled and revealed in due course of time. So we will continue with Act 4 of the play in the next coming video. Stay tuned till then. Thank you for now.